All right, welcome back to the Ark Ascended Basics series. Today we're going to do what I consider the top 10 beginner tips that everyone needs to know when they start a new playthrough, whether it be on the island or any map, really. So without further ado, let's check out number 10. We're going to start out with all the berries you can find. Like, one of the first things you're going to do is just come up to a bush and hit E on it. You might punch a tree first, that's fine too. Now, most of these berries, you can just eat them, no big consequence, whatever. They'll give you a little food, maybe a little bit of water, really small amount of water, really. Let's see, did we get them all? I think so. We got enough of them. Now, like the green, blue, yellow, reds, purple even. You just eat those, whatever. A full stack will fill your belly all the way up. And not like real life, you're not gonna crap your pants after eating an entire bowl of blueberries. But there are two of them you need to be aware of. The stemberry, these are pretty good if you're getting attacked by a Troodon or a Packy, something's trying to knock you out. You can eat these, and it will keep your torpor from going down, or it will replenish some of your torpor. Now you got to have these either on your hot bar, or you'd be real quick to get in here to eat them. You got to eat them before you get knocked out, because once you're unconscious, you can't do anything, obviously. And then the Troodon or the snake or whatever knocked you out is just gonna kill you and eat you, because that's what they do. One bad thing about them is they drain your water really fast, so you got to be very careful about that. Like, if you're already dying of thirst, they're not gonna make that situation any better. And then the other one is narco berries. These are super important for keeping things unconscious that you knock out. You can force feed them to anything you've knocked out, and it'll keep them asleep. You don't want to eat them because they will knock you out, and you're gonna have a bad time. They give you a lot of food, like if you're in a pinch, but really, like, you get so many of the other berries. Just eat the other berries. Like, there's no reason to eat the narco berries. It's just silly. Now you can the stem berries and the narco berries can both be crafted up in the mortar and pestle. We'll go look at that real quick. All right, so mortar and pestle, you can craft up stimulant, so spark powder and stem berry. It's basically just the same thing as the stem berries, just stronger, bigger effects. And then craft up narcotic with narco berries and spoiled meat, which is also basically the same thing as the narco berries themselves, just stronger. And you can carry this around if you want to use that to keep dinos asleep if you want. It doesn't spoil, which is really its only benefit, in my opinion, for carrying around for that. I always just use narco berries because it takes them longer to eat 10 of these than it does to eat one of these, and you're going to get about the same amount of knockout. And while their torpidity is going up, then it can't be going down. So the narco berries are way more efficient time wise. And almost everywhere there's bushes that you can go out and harvest. Not really around my base right now because I've harvested them all already. My moss chops are doing work. But yeah, that's the berries, and now let's go on to the next one. Now, after you punch a few trees, gather some berries to satisfy that insatiable hunger, you're going to hear some loud ass music letting you know that you've leveled up. So you just hit I think it's I by default. I always change it to tab because tab is just better. I think it's better. So you open your inventory, and all these arrows over here are going to be glowing, and you'll be able to pick one. I always start with weight because in the early game, you fill up so fast, you can't move almost immediately. Just like harvest two trees, and it's like, oh, I can't move no more. So I get my weight to 200. Like, that's the first 10 levels. Weight to 200. 5 levels? It might be 5 levels. It's not very many levels. And then after that, health and stamina, I get those to 200, and then I go back to the weight. And depending on where I'm at on the island, I might get my fortitude up pretty quick too. Because down here in the bottom right, you might get a flame or a snowflake or a big flame or an ice cube. If it's the small ones, then you either, like, if it's a small flame, you're draining water faster. If it's a snowflake, you're draining food faster. And if it's the ice cube or the big flame, then those things are happening and you're taking damage to your health. So you want to avoid that, and fortitude can help you avoid that. Fortitude also helps you not take as much torpidity damage from, like, snakes or Troodons or things that try to knock you out before they kill you. Now, I never bother with the oxygen, food, or water. Like, I would call them completely worthless. Like the game, I don't know why they're even there. Like they serve no purpose whatsoever. Melee damage, you can. This is not bad to get early game. It makes it so that whenever you use a tool, anything you harvest with your tool, you get more of it. So if you're using your hatchet to get trees, to get wood, then you'll start getting more wood if you have more melee damage. Same with thatch if you're using the pickaxe. And it's not too bad to get early game. I never bother with it because I usually get dinos to do the work for me pretty quick. But if you've been a beginner, then by the time you're getting dinos that can do the work for you, then you'll be able to craft a mind wipe tonic and reset all your stats anyway. And that's really not that big a deal. I think actually they even show you what the recipe is for that stuff now in the cooking pot here. Where? Yeah, here we go. Mind wipe tonic. Oh yeah, just prime meat, bunch of berries, some rare flowers, stimulant, rare mushrooms. Yeah, it takes some things. Like you're not gonna be able to build it right away, but it's not too bad. Once you know how to get all those things, it'll be nothing. By the time you're in the mid game, it's really nothing at all. And that's the basic stats. And then keep your eyes open for a video going into detail about each one of these stats. I'm going to eventually get around to doing that. Shouldn't be too long, I hope. But it'll give you a better understanding of what exactly each stat does. And then Ingram points. When you level up, after you click one of these arrows, it's going to bring you directly over to this page where you can start spending your Ingram points. Like, you don't get very many in the early game, but I'm level 80 now, and I got 2,400 total. So you start getting a lot of them later on. So I always start the stone pickaxe, stone hatchet, and the spear as my first level. Maybe it might take 2 levels. I don't remember. And then campfire is real good early game. And eventually you're going to want to move into the thatch building pieces here so that you can build yourself a little starter base. Storage box is pretty important so you can put things down so that if you get killed, they don't get lost out in the world somewhere. You know where they are. Alright, and once you've spent whatever points you have, you go back over to your inventory here, and you can click crafting here, and just hover over it and hit E, or you can right click it and craft one, hit A to craft all, craft a mount, or if it's something you don't have enough to build, you can right click on it and click track, and it'll bring up this thing right here on the right side of the screen where it tells you what you need to build it, and that'll follow you around so you can know how close you are to being able to build the next thing you're trying to build. Now, eventually you're going to get down to where you need the workbench to craft items. But like you'll be able to craft the workbench in your inventory here. Somewhere there. Oh, it's the smithy. Oh, my bad. But that'll be like the smithy and the forge here. Those will be like the first big items you need to make eventually. But you'll learn all that as you go down the tree here. Like you'll get down to wood, hide gear, a raft, and like eventually, super late game, like once you start beating the bosses, like you can't even unlock this stuff. You have to kill something to earn it. I'm not gonna spoil what all of it is, but it's really fun. I like it a lot. Oh, and also on crafting, there is the mortar and pestle, so you can make like smithy paste, gunpowder, bug repellent, spark powder, stuff like that. Spark powder is real important for your fridge. Keeps your fridge running, or your preserving bin, I guess. The first tier of fridge. And then, like the campfire, you cook meat in it. That counts as crafting. The cooking pot, you make all your dyes and kibble and a bunch of other different soups and things. Soap if you want to wash things off. Things that you've painted with a dye. And let's move on to the next one now. Alright, now this next one is super important. This might be one of the most important ones, but we're going to get it at number, 8? Just to make sure you know it early in the video in case you click off or something. But you got your 2 primary tools are going to be your pickaxe and your hatchet. Now, when you start out, you'll have stone ones, but they do the same thing. The hatchet, when you hit a tree, it gives you more wood than thatch. And then the pickaxe, when you hit a tree, gives you more thatch than wood. It still gives you a little bit of the other, but it's going to depend on which one you want more of. And they work the same way with rocks. The hatchet will give you more stone versus flint. The pickaxe will give you more flint versus stone. And the pickaxe can sometimes give you metal as well. And if it's a special metal rock, then you have to use the pickaxe to get the metal. And then also, when harvesting dead dinosaurs or dead creatures, the pickaxe will give you more meat versus hide, and the axe or the hatchet will give you more hide versus meat. And if it's a creature that has chitin, like it's got horns or a hard shell or something, then the hatchet gives you more of the chitin versus meat as well. It counts the same as hide. And then later in the game, you're going to need to use your pickaxe to maximize the amount of obsidian, crystal, oil, and metal that you get from those specific nodes later on. Alright, up next we have the basic building material tiers. You can start with thatch, which is the weakest. It can be damaged by just about anything, like literally almost anything. That dodo might be the only thing over there that can't hurt it. Next up is wood. It's a little bit stronger. It won't be damaged by most smaller creatures, but anything bigger, like maybe piss off a trike, anything in that size range, a stego, they'll still be able to damage it. Then stone is the next tier. This is the first one that's reasonably strong. There's only a few select creatures that can damage it, like the Giga and the Titanosaur. For most PvE instances in single player, this is as high as you need to go to have a safe base. Like, you can still go higher for cosmetic reasons, or if you want to just have a metal base, but you don't have to for a lot of things in PvE. For PvP, yeah, you got to get to metal as quick as you can, because grenades and explosives and everything can damage your stone real easy. And then next up is the metal tier. This is basically immune to all dinosaurs. I think the only way to hurt it is with tech saddles when it comes to dinosaurs. I could be mistaken on that. Leave a comment down below if I missed something on that. And then there's also a fifth tier that I don't have unlocked yet. You have to beat the in-game bosses. You have to beat the in-game bosses down here to unlock the tech tier. I think that's the tech foundation there. There's the building materials. But it just looks amazing. It's really fun to build with. Like, mix that metal and the greenhouse stuff. Like, that's another thing. The greenhouse, it doesn't have a foundation piece, but it's just basically glass. Kind of glass. It looks more like the wavy plastic now, really. It looks more like a greenhouse than it used to. But mix that with tech and metal, and you can get some really amazing looking structures. More like that's more for like futuristic structures and towards the late game. I like mixing wood and stone, like with this base over here. Just like stone foundation, wood walls, wood roof, some thatch roof. And I painted a bunch of stuff to get all these different color things. Another thing about building your structure out of materials and stuff is this little house symbol on the right. This, I don't think the game tells you what it does anymore, or if maybe it never did. Yeah, it's not showing up in the buffs. But what it does is it boosts your temperature resistance a little bit. So like if I was overheating, and if I was just barely overheating, I could come inside the house and stop overheating. Alright, now we're going to do a brief overview of the icons here in the bottom right. Let's get somewhere in the shade so we can see them. There we go. Alright, this top one, pretty easy. It's your weight. Fill it up, you can't move. The closer to full it is, the slower you're going to run. Next is your thirst. Fill it up, you're not thirsty. If it's empty, you start taking damage from being thirsty. It drains a lot faster if it's hot, which is indicated by this little flame down here. If it's a big flame, it's going to drain even faster, and you'll be taking damage. Then there's your food right below it. This is, you got to eat. Eat to keep it full. If it's empty, you'll start taking damage. If you're in the cold, if this icon is a snowflake, then it'll be draining a lot faster. If it's an ice cube, then it'll be draining faster, and you'll be taking damage. Another thing to keep an eye out on this, like you can see, it's currently highlighted white compared to the grayer of the other things around it. That means my character needs to poop. So you can just set it. There's no hotkey set for it by default, but I set it to the decimal point on my numpad, and then you can poop, and, well, it's down there somewhere. We don't got to find it. It's not that big a deal. If you have to poop, then whenever your stamina is recovering, it will use more food to recover it. So early game, it makes a lot more difference in the early game when you don't have as much food around. But late game, who cares? You'll have so much food and water, it won't matter. All right, then the lightning bolt is your stamina. It's what you need to swing a tool. I don't think it drains if I don't actually hit anything. Oh, maybe a little bit. Yeah, it's draining just by swinging. But yeah, that's your stamina. You run out of it. You can't swing your axe. You can't stab something with your spear. You can't sprint. It's so keep an eye on that. Try not to let it get below like half if you're out in a dangerous area and you might need to run back to your dinosaur or something. And yeah, it replenishing uses your food and water. And if you gotta poop, it uses more of them. Oh, and to replenish it, just stand still. Stop moving. Don't swing your arms, and it will fill back up pretty quick. And now the next one is your health. If it runs out, you die. Simple as that. You can make it harder for it to run out by leveling up your health stat in here. I recommend trying to avoid it running out. It's pretty important. And then the last one down here is your experience. So if you're in your inventory here, you can see it represented by the yellow bar at the top of your stats here. When it fills up, you'll level up. You get another stat point and more Ingram points. Alright, now this next one is hands down the single most important item in all of Ark. The Bola. You gotta get some stats, stone, fiber, and hide together, and craft a few of these and keep them on your hotbar at all times. Anytime like a raptor or another small creature decides that you look delicious, just throw one of these at it and either run away or kill it if you can. It's also great for holding things still, like if you want to knock them out with some trank arrows. Like, I'll just show you how it works here on this dodo. See, now he can't move, no matter what he wants to do. He's scared. He's trying to run away, but he's not allowed. Now, I don't need to tame a dodo, so next. Alright, here's a nice quick and easy one. This is an awesome quality of life change from Ark Survival Evolved. It's instead of having to open your inventory to change what kind of arrow you have on your crossbow or what kind of ammo you have in your gun, just hold R and it brings up this wheel. So I can just switch straight to trank arrows from here. That can save a few seconds, but it's really nice. I'm a big fan of it. So no more needing to open your menu to swap ammos. Alright, this next one will cover how to spawn where you want. Now, for this you'll have to have killed a few things in order to have and gathered their hide. So I got some hide here on me. So what you'll do is you go in here, craft a sleeping bag. This is the first item you'll have to be able to put down to respawn wherever you want. And just slap it on your hotbar, bring it up with wherever you put it, and just put it down. You can rotate it around, whatever. And now I can spawn here if I die. Now the thing with the sleeping bags, though, is you can only spawn on them one time, and then they crumble away and disappear. Now, in order to avoid that, then you're going to have to craft a bed. One of these things. And you can also fast travel from beds. You'll drop all your items, so make sure you put everything in a box before you try it. But yeah, if you put a bed on the other side of the map, like say if I had a bed over all the way up here by Carnivore Island somewhere, I could just fast travel up there right away. Hopefully I have more gear up there because you can't take any of your gear with you. Oh, and beds, like sleeping bags, you can put those anywhere on the ground, no matter where. I don't think you can put them in the water. But the beds, they have to be on a foundation. So if you're going to put them somewhere, make sure you at least carry a wood or stone foundation with you to put it on. And like the sleeping bags, or even you can even do it with like a foundation and a bed, but at least take a sleeping bag with you. Like anytime you're going to go on a long journey away from your base, and just slap one down, and you'll be able to res and get back closer to your body without having to run all the way back. And here in single player, another big quality of life thing is you can pick everything up. Like there's no longer this 10-second rule where it gets demolished if you try to pick it up if it's been down too long. Like everything can just get picked up. It's awesome. And even like if I pick up this foundation, then it'll pick up everything connected to it above it. It doesn't even destroy the stuff above it. It picks it all up. It's amazing. Another bonus tip. Alright, and now let's cover the supply drops. These are pretty important. They're currently way better than they were in Ark Evolved. I'm not sure how long that'll last. It might have already been patched out, really. The last couple white drops I've gotten haven't been quite as amazing as they were at the first few days of the launch. But yeah, anytime you see this beam coming down from the sky, there's a green one over there, there's a white one here, then try and make your way over there and be there when it gets to the ground. Especially if you're on a server, there'll be competition for them, I'm sure. Maybe not the white ones, but the red ones and yellow ones for sure. And They have the same level requirements that Evolved had on the same tiers. There's white requires level 3, green requires level 15, blue requires level 25, purple 35, yellow 45, and red needs level 60. And that's they have better and better loot as they go. They also have a chance to have like a yellow ring around them, which doubles the amount of loot in them. Everybody wants double loot, right? And here's what they look like as they approach the ground. We'll open this one up and we can see what's in here for the white drops right now. They look a little different than they did in Evolved. Got these weird organic legs now. But just run up to it. Ah, it's got some food. I'll take it. I don't need the stone pickaxe. We'll just drop that on the ground. And then Sky Daddy will take it back. Thanks, Sky Daddy. There it goes. Up into the air. But yeah, these are way better than they used to be, so definitely don't sleep on them. They will help you a lot. Alright, and now, finally, we're going to move on to the two primary ways to tame creatures in the game. There's passive taming and knockout taming. This guy right here is a perfect example of passive taming. He only wants a Mejoberry. So he says Mejoberry. So I've already got it here, but you just put whatever item they want here in your 0 slot, the last slot on your hotbar. Walk up to him and hit the E button. Oh, he's low enough level. I have another Moss Chops. He's level 22. That's just terrible, really. But we got him. Lystrosauruses are another good passive tame. They're actually really good to have. They boost all the passive XP gain every time you pet them. They'll give like an area effect for everything around them. And if they're higher level, then just wait until they're hungry again and do it again. And then the other is knockout taming, which we'll try and pull it off on this dodo right here. It might just die. What level is it? It's 25. We'll give it a body shot. Maybe it won't die. Yeah, just like that. It fell asleep. Get my arrow back. No longer covered in narcotics, obviously. Now, if it's a bigger creature, not too big though, you can use the Bola to make it hold still. Or if it's really big, you can try and build a trap to lure it into, to hold it in one spot. Or you can just try to run away from it. If you can run faster than it, then you can try that. Just stay ahead of it. But now that once it's knocked out, you just hit E to access their inventory. And this is an herbivore, so you just put berries in there. It doesn't really matter what kind, or something this small. Oh wow, already. Ha, we got them. Mejo berries are the best berry, so if you're worried about it taking several berries or several cycles, use the Mejo berries. And then there's also kibble later on in the game that you won't have in the early game, but you can make it in the cooking pot. And like, don't ever use lower kibble than what that dino wants. Like, every dino has a preferred kibble, and as long as you're using that or better kibble, then you're good to go. That's the absolute fastest way to tame things up. A lot of things want like prime meat or cooked prime meat, prime fish meat or whatever. There's a lot of different things, and you just have to experiment to find out which ones work the best. In the early game, if you don't have the trank arrows yet, you can use the slingshot or the club to knock things out. Headshots matter. They do a lot more torpor versus physical damage if you hit him in the head. But, like, see this dodo here, I shot him in the body because a single shot with my crossbow in the head might have just killed him. And dodos don't take a lot of torpor to knock out. Now, if it's a carnivore, as you go up the meat scale before you get to kibble, the better the meat, the faster they'll tame. Oh, since this guy is here, we might as well talk about another. You can just claim babies in the wild sometimes. Like, there's these two turtles here. I'm not gonna mess with them because my Pteranodon got a little messed up in that last fight. An Alpha Raptor was around one of the drops I tried to show, but I had to run away because Jenny's not good at that yet. But back on track. These, if I killed this turtle, like its parent, or tamed it, either way, I think taming the parent is better because then I think you can get an imprint on the little guy other than just claiming it. Oh, there's two of them. Nice. But their parent is always going to be the one that's around that's the same level. So he's level 70, and these two are both level 70. But if I killed or tamed this turtle, then these two would be free to claim, and I could just hit E on them and claim them, and they'd be mine. And they'd grow up, and they'd think I was their mom, because turtles are dumb. That's just the function. That's just how it works in this game. Oh, there's a turtle out there. Like, what is that? We got a Loch Ness monster out here. I ain't got tree fitty. Get back in your lake. Oh, well, I wasn't going to talk about this type of taming, but there are some creatures that, like, there are a few different types of taming. Like this Pegomastix, they try to rob you, and if they're low enough level, then they'll just become your friend after they rob you. What did you take from me? He took my Mejo berries, and he ate a bunch of them. He's a jerk. I don't like him. And then there's things like the Troodon. If the Troodon, you have to take your tamed creatures to it and let it kill and eat them. Like, it's kind of messed up. I've never tamed a Troodon because I've never had a creature that I'm willing to just sacrifice to tame a Troodon. I hate Troodons. They're little jerks. I'll kill everyone I see every time I see one. And there's some more specialized taming methods as well that you can use in the late game, like the Ragnionatha or whatever. I don't know. It wasn't in Ark Evolved, but there's this giant bug around the swamp and the redwoods now that you can do the where you have to get impregnated by it or something, just similar to the those jerks on Aberration where you got to get impregnated, the Reapers. But those aren't really beginner friendly tames. Those aren't, you're not gonna be doing that in the early game. But yeah, passive, knockout, super important taming styles to know. If you knock something out and taming doesn't seem to work, then try and tame it passively. Oh, and stay away from Therizinosaurs. I think that Moschops ain't gonna make it. Yeah. Oh well. Oh, he wasn't gonna follow me all the way home anyway. But yeah, that's the basics of taming, and that's 10 beginner tips, maybe 12 or 13. There's a couple bonus ones in there. All super important to know. They'll help you get started on the island. And as a bonus tip, just have fun. Like, there's no wrong way to play Ark. It's a survival sandbox. Yeah, there's a story to follow if you want to. You don't have to. There's bosses to kill if you want to. You don't have to. I mean, you have to if you want to unlock all the Ingrams to build with. I mean, you can just try to collect all the dinosaurs, try and tame one of everything, try to build awesome bases, try to breed dinosaurs for awesome mutations. That's a whole nother bag of worms that we didn't cover at all in this video. But I'm sure I'll have a video on that eventually, once I get going and actually start breeding some things up. But yeah, let's just watch the rain over the ocean here and the coastline. And if you liked the video or saw a tip that you haven't seen before, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel out, helps the video get seen by more people. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe. There's at least one new video coming out every week. I'm trying to do 2 a week lately. So far, so good, but life gets in the way sometimes. We'll see how successful I am going forward. But yeah, stay safe out there. Don't get eaten by something. Remember, there's raptors in the jungle. The further you go inland, the more dangerous the island is, and the further north you go. But yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.